What's up, algoritors? Yeah, I'm really enjoying that opening. I hope you guys are too. What's up, Sonia Young? What's going on? Sonia Young says, good evening, Al. Hey, everybody. SL, what's up, SL? Hello. Alfred Singh says, Al Reynolds, be good to the ladies tonight, dear. Well, let's see. Tonight might be men's night. Might be all dudes tonight. SL says, it's scary. Daniel Cameron says, hey, Your Honor. Just Lee says, hey, Al. Vanessa Loshi says, hello, everyone. Everyone, hello, and welcome to Celebrity Court. I'm excited about tonight's docket because tonight's docket is where fame meets the law. And look, power is also going to be put on trial. In a world where influence often bends justice, we ask the tough questions here in my courtroom. Does celebrity status buy you freedom? Ooh, sounds like that may have happened. Does political power shield corruption? Seems like with Donald Trump in office, it's happening every day. And is justice truly blind, or is it simply peeking through the dollar sign? Tonight, we unravel cases that force us to confront the uneasy alliance between privilege and accountability. So buckle up, because the court of public opinion is what? Now in session. Joining us tonight, we have two of our legal beagles. First up, humorist at law, Sean Carter. Sean Carter, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Happy to be back. Ready to go.
All right. Joining Sean Carter tonight will be Shit They Didn't Teach You in Law School author, Jason Weiss. Jason Weiss, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your courtroom is a little less crowded tonight, so I don't know if I like that or if I don't like it. I miss everyone.
Of course, we're gonna love it. All right, algorithm, don't forget to throw the fax emoji in the chat for me. You're gonna throw the clown emoji in the chat for Sean Carter, and for Jason Weiss, what did we decide? The shield, right?
Yep.
All right. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, please hit the share button and invite some friends over to learn the law as we dissect the difference between power, corruption, and accountability tonight. Also, turn on your notifications. And as always, jump down in those comments because we love to hear from you as we break down these cases. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Where?
Ready? Rick, I'm ready, gentlemen.
We're ready.
I'm ready to go.
We're with all the ish tonight. All right, first up, the U.S. Department of Education is making waves, and not the kind that inspires graduation caps in the air. They've declared that schools, universities that are relying on federal funding must eliminate their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs or kiss their funding goodbye. Supporters say DEI has become weaponized. Opponents argue this move erases progress for marginalized communities. But when education policies teeter into politics, who wins and who actually loses? I'm gonna go to both of the attorneys here and let me ask this question, because it seems to me that the administration has this fancy, like they have a hard on, and I'm going to say it, they have a hard on for anything that deals with diversity, equity, and inclusion. Am I the only one that's thinking that? Why is it so important that you're using your executive orders, that you're using your executive power to turn back the hands of time as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion? And let's be very clear. DEI is not about African Americans. DEI is about women. It's about handicap. It's about veterans. It's about Hispanics. It's about Asians. And it's also about the LGBTQ plus community. Why does he have such a hard on for them? So the question for the attorneys tonight, can the federal government, and this is a serious question, can the federal government legally withhold funding based on an institution's DEI policy? Attorney Carter, I'm going to start with you first.
No. And I'm not saying you can't ever, but here's why Trump's executive order is going to go down just like most of them do. Understand Trump is basically a 6-year-old. All right, he's old, grown, and more of the toupee, but he's still a 6-year-old in the sense that with tiny hands. But the point is this, though: all he ever does is just think of stuff and then say, write it up. And none of his people ever say to him, hey, Don, let's check the illegality of this or the constitutionality of this. So let me give you a quick breakdown and try to be not too law schooly about it. Okay?
No, be law schooly about this because I need to know. Because let me tell you something, attorneys. You guys are legal beagles. So when you hear this type of stuff, it doesn't resonate with you the same. Right. But when people like the normal Americans who hear this type of stuff, we get really concerned. We get really concerned that he is weaponizing this to the tune of he's basically saying, all you companies out here, you no longer have to be sensitive to anything of color, anything of marginalized communities, any of that. So go ahead, take your time, break it down legally for us.
All right. So breaking down, here's the thing is, the federal government has it right under what's called the spending clause. The spending clause of the Constitution says the Congress has the power to spend the federal government's money to provide for the general welfare and common defense. Okay. General welfare is the issue we're dealing with here. And certainly the federal government can decide where its money goes. Totally makes sense. But it obviously can't do it arbitrarily. It can't say, hey, all of it goes to Elon, although he's trying that too. All right, it has to do it for the general welfare. And so it has to prove that what it's doing is going to be good for people in general.
Okay.
Part of that process is not only do they have to have a specific mandate that says this will make things better for everybody, but also they have to do it in a timely manner. So the difference, they said, get rid of your DEI in 2 weeks. How is that possible? No. All right, you at least would give people a semester. That's going to be seen as being arbitrary and capricious. We talked about this before. Federal government just can't come in and ram things down people's throat. Okay. The second part is they actually have to define what DEI is. Is DEI teaching Native American history in a place like California or Arizona, where all of our places are named after Native people? All right. No. Right. And so that's going to be the question, right? If schools say, how do I get rid of DUI? Do I no longer mention Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King? Right. So the point is, it's not even a directive that anyone can comply with because it's so vague. And he, of course, didn't make it very clear. He does this stuff because he has a base out there. And his base is going to applaud his action, even if it never goes through. They're not going to read past the first day's headlines.
Right.
And so all he has to do is just say what the magic words to them, racist, and then be clear with it. The second thing, though, is, and this is where, as a black person, this is very concerning, is that the only judicial precedence he has for getting rid of affirmative action does deal specifically with race. That case that came for the Supreme Court 2 summers ago only dealt with race. It said universities can't give racial preferences. It didn't say anything about gender. A university can say, hey, I want to make sure we have half women and half men in here because it's going to be awkward.
How about
handicap? They can do handicap. That's not so. People who are disabled, a school can look at that and say disability is an issue. We can give you preference for that. A school can say, hey, if you're LGBT, we don't want a whole bunch of straight jocks in here. We can bring in 10% of people who, we wanted somebody to dress nice up in here, right? A school can do everything.
Not just nice, counselor.
It's true. A school can do everything. A school can consider everything but race. And so it is going to affect black and brown people a lot more because the only judicial precedent he has, the only thing he can go to court on is race-based affirmative action. Any other type of DEI is not been decided by the court yet. And so while all these things look like they're generally going to apply to everybody, they're really only going to apply. And think about it. Trump's people aren't worried about women taking all their jobs. All right. They're not working about, they're worried about us.
That's right.
And so that's where all the action is going to go, unfortunately.
Now you got to remember,
Jason, as our resident white boy,
where?
Jason, as our resident white boy here, what legal precedents? Let's go back to what Attorney Carter said. What legal precedents? All right, think about it. Exists regarding federal influence over state educational policies. I thought he was supposed to stay in his lane. Like when did that happen? So what legal precedents exist regarding federal influence over state educational policies?
I mean, look, each state has their own education policy, but if you're getting federal funds, then the federal government has a right to say that, because funding for schools comes from two sources. It comes from federal funds, where you have to listen to the federal government if you want their money, and it comes from state funds, where you need to listen to the state in order to get their money. And if you're fortunate, you listen to both and you get federal and state funds. If your kids or somebody goes to a private school and they don't accept federal funds or state funds, they could do whatever they want. They could say that we're not going to take any white males at this school. We're only going to take we're only going to take whatever. We're only going to take green people, right? Okay, so that's it. If you're green, you can go to the school, and they could do that because it's a private school. There's one thing that we need to keep in mind. Trump likes the shock and awe. He likes to say something and get the reaction. And whatever he could say to get the reaction, that's a win for him. Like Charlie Sheen said like 15 years ago, winning, that's what Trump wants. And the other thing that we need to keep in mind is, look who's in charge of all of our children and all of the adults that are in school. Who is in charge of the education? The wife of a former WWE.
I'm just like, what?
And it was WWF, and they got sued for WWF because that was the World Wildlife Federation, and they got sued, and they had to change it to WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment Company. So, that says something. They're not, look, Trump is making a lot of lawyers very busy to either defend what he's doing or to attack what he is trying to do. And I think this is all a distraction while he's got something else behind the curtain.
Behind the curtain. I do too. But see, the deal is the assault on what feels like to me people of color, the blatant assault on people of color, is what is just so disturbing. Like I
read an article today that said that everything that the Biden administration accomplished over the course of 4 years has been destroyed in the course of 4 weeks.
Absolutely, because the Biden administration was very thankful to African-American females. He said that that's how he got into office.
Yep.
He put the most number of African-Americans in the judicial system.
Yep.
And the list goes on and on. I'm also concerned, though, about all of us who had federal funding to go to college.
Yeah. Yeah. And
how it seems to me this is what it feels like. I don't care. I'm taking my gloves off on this. It feels like to me he's tired of Black people excelling and doing well in America and did such a great job since the 50s to create a middle class. It feels like he doesn't like it, he doesn't appreciate it, and he's trying to get rid of it. And he's doing it by clamping the funds that helped us get and build the middle class. Everything that's relating to African Americans or people of color in that middle class, he wants them gone. He either wants you to be poor or you have to be super rich. Now, the interesting part to me is the people that support him the most are the poorest of Americans.
Makes no sense.
So I'm just where am I? What am I missing out on here?
Well, here's where I don't think you're going on a limb. Trump's entire political career started because Obama got elected. And he said, oh, hell no Black man could be there. And remember, Trump, by the way, the funny thing is, would have been 15 years ago invited to the cookout. All right? He would have.
Absolutely. In fact,
he was fine with Black people. As long as we were rappers and athletes and clowns, he was cool. But when we got to be president, he said, oh, hell no, you guys have stepped outside.
Now you've done too much. You can entertain us. You can entertain us. You can kick a ball, catch a ball, throw a ball, shoot a ball, run a ball, sing, dance. But you cannot be the president of the United States. And a matter of fact, we'll let you make money over there entertaining us, right, with sports and entertainment. However, don't try to sit in the same chambers with me.
Absolutely.
That just to me is like some bullshit. All right, let me get to Daniel Cameron really quick. Daniel Cameron, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the super chat. Daniel says Trump is over here taking out his feelings on America because Melania won't let him grab her by the Tootsie Cat.
I want to know, is orange skin color a protected class? Just curious.
Right. Afra Singh says, Daniel, no Tootsie Cat, no hand holding, no breathing the same hair. but he ain't deporting her. Purposely Delicious says, good evening, Your Honor. Happy Wednesday, Esquires. We appreciate you all. Tiffany's laughing. Let's see. Daniel Cameron said, if they start only taking orange people, we're in trouble, y'all. Purposely Delicious says, a lot behind the curtain. Tiffany HR said, agreed, Al. I think he's terrorizing minorities, so we won't pay attention to Elon snooping through the pockets. I think so too. It's something about all that doesn't feel right. It feels disgusting and deceptive. A LinkedIn user said, mental illness? That's the question. All right, before we move on, let me ask this question. Could the decision face constitutional challenges under equal protection laws, or are we off base? Attorney Carter, what say you?
Yeah, I'm not sure equal protection works there. Because remember, the equal protection argument is the one that ended up getting the affirmative action kicked out in education. The white people came and Asians came through and said, hey, our equal protection rights have been messed up by affirmative action in education. Yes. So, but he has a spending clause issue, and we talked about a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna keep doing it as long as we're on here. The Administrative Procedures Act. When the federal government wants to make a change in what it does, it has to do so reasonably, has to do so in a measured amount of time, has to consider.
Yeah, but let me tell you something, Attorney Carter. I'm bullshit. He hasn't done anything with reason. He hasn't done anything in a logical time. How do I know that it's going to upstand now?
Because it does. Think about it. All right, the spending freeze he wanted a couple months ago. They still got to spend that money.
The federal workers unemployed now.
Yeah,
I have friends that are out of work.
And they're out of work.
Especially those that were protecting our well-being in nuclear power plants, and they just went ahead and got rid of all 300 of them. And oops, we made a mistake, and we're hiring back all but 10.
See, exactly. And even that's the thing is, even when he gets what he wants, even before the court step in, halftime he realizes, oh, that was dumb. And we don't get the headlines of when he reverses. We just always cling to the. And so, I'm not saying that none of this is good.
It's just.
So look,
I'm starting not to have trust in the legal, constitutional, federal, or even state process as it relates to these laws, because what it looks like to me is he's rewriting history. He's rewriting history, and he doesn't give a crap. All right, let's go to the algoritms real quick. Algoritms, is the Department of Education defending fairness? I don't know how they're doing that. Fair is making people accept us when they don't want us there. That's what's fair. Not giving us a chance at all now is even worse. So is the Department of Education defending fairness, or are they dismantling progress? Feels like they're dismantling progress purposefully. Thoughts? All right, let's continue this conversation, because something else, and this is why I don't have any trust or faith. I don't have any trust or faith in the federal government. I don't have any trust or faith in the executive office. Okay, let's talk about this. In the age of hashtags and hot takes, even government agencies aren't immune. The Department of Education, Instagram, they're posting Instagram posts endorsing equality through merit. Did you see the Instagram post? It triggered outrage. It was seen as a veiled attack on DEI values. So, counselors, is social media now dictating public policy, or is this the transparency we need? And I guess the real question is this the transparency we need, or can official government social media statements influence judicial interpretation? That's the real question here. I'm gonna go to you, Jason. What are your thoughts?
It should not. Okay. And I say that the way I say it because it should not. Look, anytime you put anything out there, immediately people are going to check it on social media. People are Googling, right. People are seeing. So part of it I'm not saying I agree with it, but part of it could have been a ploy for everybody to go out there and start reading about it. And, oh my God, you can't do this. Or, they want to get the feel for it. They want to get public comment. They want to get, transparency. Look, here in Florida, we have, I think it's called the Sunshine Laws, right? If you email or write to any state or government person, that has the right to be seen. It's not
Right,
secret.
that's right.
Like you can't, like, if your spouse is a government employee and you write to your spouse, hey, I can't wait to see you tonight for blah, 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 blah. That's in the public record. That's there. So we have these sunshine laws. So this is just putting out there for everybody to see, right or wrong. It's look, I still think we're in an age of sensationalism, and I think they're trying to get a reaction. I don't agree with it.
No, I honestly, I don't feel like that's what it is. I feel like what they're doing is they are pushing a narrative on social media platforms because he's in bed with Elon Musk. This is the easiest way to program Americans to get on board with what it is that he's trying to convince them to do. He's using social media as public policy instead of going through the channels of his House of Representatives and Congress. And what he's doing is he's garnering public opinion, right, to trump constitutional rights. That's what I see happening. And he's doing the back door. So if America says, hey, we don't want the Constitution to say support or protect Black people any long, and if the majority says we don't want it, he's using that to force public policy. That's what this looks like to me. And he knows with Elon Musk's control over X, and if he gets TikTok, how that can influence the flipping of constitutional rights, because he's saying the American people no longer want it. That's what's happening here to me.
But I guess the question becomes, what do the American people not want? Someone put in the comments right here that it was the administration doesn't care about us, the poor people, right? Okay, so why? How did he get voted in, I guess, is the question, right? A smoke screen, and we're all convinced that the orange guy was going to change second time around. What is it, Ernie? So
I think my gut tells me that there was some freaky stuff going on. It was some manipulation going on through all types of Facebook, through Twitter, and all of that. It's just something's telling me the margin in which she lost, and I'm nonpartisan. Let's be very clear. I vote for the candidate that is best for the American people as a whole. But the margin in which she lost did not match the margin in which support was given to her. I don't care what anybody says. It just didn't match it to me. So let me ask you this question, Attorney Carter, because you're a legal beagle here. How does the First Amendment apply to government agency speech on social media platforms?
First, the government, has a right, all right, to be able to say what it wants to say. And here's the thing about it is, everything you absolutely said in that last part is 100% correct. The federal government or the Trump administration is using social media for propaganda purposes. And you know what other administration did that one? Every single administration. That's what you do. You put your place out there. We went to war in the Gulf on a country that had nothing to do with 9/11. Why? Because the government put out into ABC News, NBC News, etc., its talking points.
But that's different.
No, it isn't. It's just like they put it out.
Let me tell you why I think that's different, Counselor, because we're not rewriting the Constitution. This man is actively
He is not rewriting the Constitution. He doesn't have that power.
Exactly.
He doesn't have that power. The courts will stop him from doing that. And I think it's
they have.
And they will again. I've got a bunch of cases here from last time. We keep forgetting that he was in office 8 years ago. He proposed this same stuff 8 years ago. It did not get rid of everything. Okay, the court will eventually step in and do what it's supposed to do because the court is not subject to his.
When he has the majority of the Supreme Court on his side, I mean, how? I need for y'all to convince me.
Well, he put them in. He got them in there. But look, the one thing you got to keep in mind is every day social media is getting more and more and growing and growing and growing. So what we did 8 years ago, what we did 4 years ago, and what we're doing today, it's all a changing of the time, right? I don't think, I could tell you where one of my best friends in the world was having his cup of Dunkin' Donuts this morning because he posted on Facebook and TikTok and everything else where, in the olden days, I would have had to call him and say, hey, where are you having breakfast this morning? So,
and let me tell you why.
Hold on. But before you do that,
ahead.
let me just ask one last question because y'all are not giving me what I want to hear.
You want me to tell you that the world's going to end and we're all going to die? I can't tell you that. I've been around too long.
No. I want to. This is what it feels like to me. This is the question: are there legal consequences then? All right. Are there legal consequences when social media backlash? All right.
Yeah, right.
Pressure, policy change. Because that's what I'm concerned about.
And here's the thing is, and this is why I think, you look at these things he says that are just blatantly anti-race, racist. All right, just to be clear. All right,
and you think, oh my God, he is.
How could he say that? Right, and you're like, oh my God, how could he say it on social media? And I'm like, no, it's good he said that on social media because the courts will look at that when he makes it, because he's not going to go to court and say, hey, I hate black people, Your Honor, let this law stand. He's going to come up with another reason, and the court will look at his tweets and say, no, it's actually because you're racist, and we had that happen in 2017. There was a travel ban. He went to court and said, I have security reasons for that. And they said, no. You tweeted last week you hate Muslims. All right. We know what your real reasons are. Trump is actually stupid enough to say the quiet part out loud. And that's why I actually hope. That's why I have hope for. Whenever I see a tweet like that, I know it's infuriating, but I go, woosah.
So I need to take my emotions out of it.
There you go.
Look, as an attorney, I always tell my clients that when you're sending something or posting something or doing something, if you have to go in front of a judge and explain what you put up there and you're going to look like an ass, then don't do it. Trump didn't get that, right? So he puts out whatever he wants. You know exactly what's coming. He's not a sneaky guy, right? He's a bull in a china shop. I'm coming in, clear the path. The sneaky guys are the ones that we have to be scared of.
Like Elon.
100%.
There you go.
But I don't think he's as sneaky anymore.
When is the last time we've seen kids in the Oval Office telling the president, be quiet, you're not even the president? What are we witnessing in America today, everybody? Like what?
That was the best thing that happened all month.
I understand why. That to me says fuckery at the highest level.
It does, and it also means
it's saying to me that where have we come? I just don't understand. All right, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna stop being
all right.
more emotional.
We're gonna be all right.
Speaking of emotions and being very emotional, rapper A$AP Rocky, known for his chart-topping hits and high-profile relationship, Rihanna just dodged a bullet. When I say dodged it, I mean literally as well as legally. Acquitted of felony assault charges stemming from a 2021 shooting, his case reignites the debate. Does celebrity status grant legal leniency?
Leniency.
I already got a speech impediment. And I'm making it worse. Legal leniency. Or was justice truly served? All right, let's take a look, bailiff. Can we see the video, please? All right, let's go back one more time. I think we missed it. Yeah, let's go back. He jumped over there. He jumped over that
thing.
Like,
wait, you ain't Rihanna.
Listen, one of my good friends said, good thing, glad Rihanna had that hair on strong because that hug could have took her wig out. All right, this is a question for the legal beagles. How difficult is it to prove felony assault involving firearms without definitive evidence? And the reason why I ask that is because I feel like in the court of public opinion, he got off because of who he's dating.
100%.
And I'm sorry. I'll go on the record and say it. And I honestly agree. I didn't want him to get it either. I didn't want him to be convicted either. But I feel like he definitely got off because of Rihanna. And I think I was one of those people that said, let's give him a pass because of Riri. Attorney Carter? Oh, no. This is you.
It goes to Carter, but he wanted ASAP Rocky to be convicted so that he could, slide right on in there.
What is his wife going to say? You said that they have to wear slips. Rihanna don't wear slips, buddy.
Hey, but for $500 million, she will let me go. All right, she's more than happy to let me go. She let me go for about $35,000 to tell the truth, but for $500 million, she will pay
$500.
So, Attorney Carter, answer that question. How difficult is it to prove felony assault involving firearms without definitive evidence? And am I overreacting and thinking that he should have gotten harsher penalties, but he didn't because of his celebrity wife?
Yeah, and here's the problem, though, is that the prosecution overreached here. They charged them with assault with a semi-automatic weapon. There are other assaults, all right? If you actually point a BB gun at someone or a water pistol at someone, that can be assault too. It's not going to give you 24 years in prison, all right? But it might have given you 6 months. And so when you point a prop gun at someone and fire it, that's assault. But it's not assault with a semi-automatic weapon. Had they gone for a lesser charge, they probably could have gotten him. But they try to get greedy because everybody wants to be on the news. Everybody wants to be famous. All right, putting, ASAP Rocky away. And when you look at it from a, standpoint, it's like 24 years is probably excessive.
Yeah,
all right, what happened here.
That was excessive.
And so we don't want him to go that. And so when the jury has to look between those two alternatives, they're not going to take away Riri's man for a lifetime, right? Never have him see his babies. They're probably going to give him the benefit of the doubt. They would have had to actually have video evidence or several corroborating witnesses, likely also a medical report that showed that there actually was someone shot, right? And so it's very difficult in this case. And they really went too far. It's interesting. They charged him with assault, but not battery. Remember, assault is doing something offensive. Battery is actually causing harm to someone. So even they knew that the guy who he supposedly shot wasn't hurt.
Tiffany AR says, Rihanna don't wear slips, counselor. Venetia Phillips says, yes, I said the same thing. I hope Riri didn't have on a wig. Damn, he would have knocked it off. Where the hell? He's flying around the courtroom. Purposely Delicious says, what about the evidence, Your Honor? I know. Sonny Clark said he did not. He did, but he isn't the first and he won't be the last. A LinkedIn user said his attorney, though, one of the best. I guess, if you say so. Danielle Cameron said Riri brought those kids and held her man down, but the victim wasn't victiming to me. Stacey Brooks said he did not take the plea because he was innocent. Felicia said Al looks like a judge from 1682.
I don't know.
Oh my God, I do. JWSL said, good evening, Al. Felicia says, good evening, everyone. I'm late. Let me ask you this question, and this is on a serious note. And I want us to dig down into this because that was what the concept of tonight's show was, because we're going to get to some other cases. Jason, does a defendant's fame impact jury perception and trial outcomes?
100%. 100%. And it's not only the fame, it's the person, right? When you're sitting there and you have a jury of your supposed peers or anybody who's looking at you, right? You want to get people that when they see you, they instantly click with you. And if it's fame, if it's somebody who likes glasses like Your Honor is wearing, right? I would walk into the courtroom and I would be wearing my reading glasses the entire time. Right. You got to find out what the people like, because if the people like you and you're the one on trial, they are going to say, I don't want to take him away from his family. I don't want to make him do that. But I also think what Attorney Carter said is spot on, which is the fact that they overcharged. They could have gone for something lesser. He wouldn't have been getting 24 years. Should he have gotten maybe 6 months if they charged him with something? Yeah, because did he do something? Did he have a prop gun? Did he make somebody think that he had a weapon? Yes. Could he have been charged with that? Yes. Would he have probably lost? Yes. Would he have done 24 years? Nope. No. And he shouldn't have.
All right, Jason. Christina R says, hey, Jason, I have on a tight sweater. What is going on here?
Here I go. I'm turning red again. Thank you, Christina.
Come get your man. All right, Attorney Carter, let me ask this question. What legal safeguards exist to ensure equal treatment regardless of status? Because I don't feel like this was necessarily equal treatment.
No, and we don't really have those. Here's the bottom line, is that the jury really does not have, right, anything that stops it from doing whatever the hell it wants to do. You've heard the term runaway jury. All right. Sometimes, and we've had that happen for in back cases. Think about Emmett Till. All right. His jury would let him off. They let those people off. So juries, unfortunately, can go any way they want to go. This case is not obviously that bad because we all sort of agree. And here's the thing about the jury is probably also a little scared. All right. Because Rihanna's Navy don't play. All right. You don't want to be the person who put ASAP away and had to go back on social media. They wouldn't. You had to shut down all your social media accounts.
I've said this before. I don't think people know who Rihanna really is. Am I the only one, algorithm? Jump down in the chat. Am I the only one that remember the Rihanna back in the days before she started making moves to be a billionaire? She would curse your ass out. She would curse you out on Twitter. She would lay into you. She didn't care. She would tell you to shut the F up. Exactly, SL. She was a gangster. She was the original gangster back in the day. And honestly, I think her and Jay-Z would be together today if she wasn't so damn gangster. Because he liked her. He liked her a lot. He just could not control her freaking mouth. She would fight with anybody. That woman was the spiciest Caribbean I knew. I promise you. But anyway, she had a better clap back than rappers. She did, Tiffany HR. Y'all remember that? All right, speaking of remembering stuff, Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker, revered as one of the NFL's finest, now faces a different type of pressure. Allegations from 10 women, they're accusing him of sexual misconduct. With the NFL's tarnished history on player accountability, the question looms: will Tucker's skill on the field overshadow his conduct off the field? All right, Jason. Speaking of athletes, tell me, what legal responsibilities do professional sports teams hold when players face misconduct allegations?
So you got to remember, the NFL, they have the morals clause and they have the policies. And if they think that you did something wrong, they're going to go ahead and suspend you. They're not going to care when it happened, what had happened. There's no statute of limitations. So this is all coming out now. The other thing is, you got to remember, this all happened in 2013, 2016. This is 9 years ago, 10 years ago. People didn't come out. People didn't say anything. There's affidavits out there saying that, he wasn't banned from this. Look, he's going to definitely get some sort of punishment from the NFL. I'd be shocked if he didn't. It's probably going to be a 4-game suspension, maybe even 6 or 8 games. And it doesn't seem, and I don't want to make light of it, because what he did is not acceptable, but he didn't do a word that we can't say on this platform. He didn't choke. He didn't do anything. There were a couple of women saying that he rubbed up against the leg.
Right, it's misconduct, right? So he wasn't appropriate, but he didn't assault anybody. It's not sexual assault. It's misconduct. Correct. So look, I do think the NFL is going to investigate this. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to investigate this. I do think something is going to come down. I wouldn't be shocked if he's, not in some sort of sensitivity training or program or therapy or something right now, but he is sticking to his guns, no pun intended, that that he didn't do any of this. He wasn't banned. No, I didn't mean to rub my penis against her face. Oh no, I didn't mean to jizz on her arm.
Well, no, it's saying that
he
did that on the table. And when he got up, it was on the table.
You can't just listen, Jason.
Before
you were married, okay? Before you were married, you didn't just jizz on a table because you jizz on tables, correct? It's not like
no, that wasn't
I'm just saying, there has to be some type of pull touch something to get.
But chances are he was going to those places because that's what it was. And now they find out he's Justin Tucker, he's got all this money, and people are no longer afraid to speak out. P Diddy and P did me and P did it. So look, I do think the NFL is gonna have to crack down. I think they're going to probably give him a 4 to 6 game suspension. I do think we're going to hear that, he and his family are he's a religious man. They're going to
renew his vows.
Yep.
He's going to have a baby.
I think all of this happened
underneath the water again.
I think this all happened before he was married. Not that that's an excuse, but that doesn't.
They're going to renew They're going to renew their vows. She's going to pop up pregnant. Attorney Carter,
and he's going to make a donation.
And he's going to make a huge donation.
We already made one. He gave at the table.
But the court said huge donation, not.
Let me ask you this, though. Can those people, if they can't convict him on the criminal side, can they sue him on the civil side?
Yeah, and at this point, we're pretty much looking at, just civil cases. No one's filed a case yet, by the way. They're just making these complaints. And by the way, they don't want this criminal case. It doesn't do them any good to have him in jail. They just like Deshaun Watson. We've had this case just a few years ago. All right, Deshaun Watson, it's basically the same thing. He's going to people who are licensed, legitimate, massage places and trying to get them to do what you could get done at the, the shady place on the seedy side of town. And they're like, no, I'm not doing that. And now we had 6 more people come forward since the last time we talked about this.
Right.
And it's only going to get more. And he'll probably have another 20 people. The thing for him, though, as far as the NFL action, and it's horrible to say this, but it really does come down to this. How well did he kick last year? And he didn't. He had his worst year in a long time. He was for a long time the best kicker in the NFL by far.
Because he was in the parlors.
Remember, he's been doing this for years. In fact, that's probably what that's messed him up. He stopped doing his pregame ritual. They're very superstitious, and he was going.
You can't get your release, though, my buddy. You got to kick your leg.
He was going there heavy-legged, trying second steps to the right.
Let me ask you this, though: how do we interpret these guys doing sexual misconduct and then hold them to a higher standard than what we hold to the president of the United States? He's grabbing Tootsie Cats. He's doing whatever he wants to do. What's wrong with having a little release at the parlor?
He doesn't have a morals clause in his contract, and Tucker does.
The president should have a morals clause in their contract.
But he doesn't.
You shouldn't be able to be a felon and be the president of the United States. Let's start with that moral clause.
Oh, no, I agree with you 100%. And by the way, it'd be a good thing next time we have a Democrat in office, assume we still have an election next time, okay? Maybe the next Democrat could actually provide for this stuff and say, hey, we have rules for what the president is required in the future, because that's the difference is. You're right. The president can do stuff that an NFL kicker can't even do because the NFL actually has a clause, and we don't have any contract for the president. The president can do whatever the hell he wants to do once he gets in there. We could probably fix that. Now, in this case, one question is, what can the NFL do? And by the way, I think you probably asked next if I can predict your next question. What can they sue the NFL? Right? Yes. Can these girls sue the teams?
Yes.
And the answer is hell no. And if this happened on their facilities at the Ravens camp, you could do that. If the Ravens had somehow had anything to do with this. But think about it. Basically, when this guy leaves his office, leaves work, and commits some crime, your employer's not responsible for that. All right, you leave 7-Eleven.
He went straight from the stadium to the massage parlor in uniform.
Right.
You still can't.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing about it. The NFL member changed its policies. Jason Tucker is lucky this happened before because now they have a policy that says you can't just go out and get a rub and tug. All right? No more tugging in the rugging. And it's weird because now they will be held responsible. If they bring the massage people into their facilities, then in the future, the next Jason Tucker in 20 years, the team will be responsible for it.
Justin Tucker.
Thank you.
Jason's like, don't put his name in.
Don't get me there. I ain't touching nothing.
Christine R said Tootsie Cat was free back in the day. Now they want a minimum of $250.
was free.
It's so true. It's so true. Like they used to be happy to get that extra $10 tip. Now they want more. Like, what the hell is really going on here? Felicia says he stretched the wrong muscle. Oh my God. Well, I will say this, and I don't know how appropriate this is. I would rather there be sexual misconduct than drugging people and sex trafficking people.
Yeah.
And the R word people.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely rather these sexually charged athletes and entertainers to do misconduct instead of assaulting people, instead of like taking it against people's will. I know I know it's not appropriate. I know it's all bad, but I'm just saying. All right, speaking of all bad, next up, power, politics, and scandal. The trifecta shaking New York City. Mayor Eric Adams stands accused of campaign finance corruption. And guess what? With the governor, Kathy Hochul, I think that's how you say her name.
Sounds good to me.
You got it. Hochul.
Leading calls, she wants him out. Adams calls it a witch hunt. But as the walls close in, we ask, when does political survival cross into obstruction of justice? This is such a good question. And I want to hear y'all's opinion on this. Because this woman, if she puts him out of office, counselors, help me.
Mm-hmm.
If she puts him out of the office, she's basically removing the electorate of the people putting him in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And that never happened in 256 or 265 years. Never.
But if I'm just saying, if she does that, you're opening the floodgates for Trump and his administration to really do some freaky stuff. Like you could be elected, but because the people voted for you, if you have the ability to overturn it and change it, as a sitting president, you basically have a free fall to change the makeup of the House and Congress or the mayors, not the House and Congress per se, but I'm just saying, if you open up this door,
right,
you open up opportunities for people to make arguments to change the power from the people to the power of the leader. Am I wrong?
Yes. No, you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. It would set a horrible precedent. And as Justin Weiss, as Attorney Weiss pointed out brilliantly, New York's never done this. Now they have had two mayors who kind of were given an ultimatum: you either step down or we're gonna throw you out. All right. And so they're trying to use that with Adams as well. Adams doesn't seem to have any shame, and she has the power to do this, and she's worried about it. And her worry isn't Trump. Her worry is this: is that there are a lot of black people in New York, and are they going to be mad that the white women throw out their black mayor, right, without their consent? And so she's bringing in, I don't know if you saw it in the news today, she brought in every black person she could find.
Yes, she brought in Sharpton.
Exactly. She's bringing in every brother. I was there a few hours ago myself. All right, she brought in Flav, Biz Marquis from the dead, everybody. All right, she bringing in every black person she could find. Kendrick was there, trying to get some cover so that when she removes him, she will then have that power. Now, the thing is, there's also another way she could be removed. The city council can remove him on a 4-5 vote, but you got to get 4 of the 5 other councilors to agree to it. So there are 2 ways to get rid of him. But here's why I think she shouldn't be so worried. It'd be one thing if she removed this guy without any corruption. But basically, remember, Adams is he not like us. He not like us because Trump is not pardoning us. Now that he's on Trump's team, I don't know if a lot of black people be mad. I'd be happy for her. I'm not even in New York.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
He's got cover now because he's now Trump's boy, that she should be able to get rid of him and not worry about it.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Jason. How does the federal investigation impact a sitting official's ability to govern?
It shouldn't, but it of course is going to. I mean, because he's constantly looking over his shoulder, doing all this, pulling attention away from his constituents. And
And
everything.
who's going to be on his side when they think he's about to be out?
Trump. Trump's going to be on his side, and he's going to allow him to stay. Pardon, boom, go ahead. Pardon Justin Tucker, boom. Pardon P. Diddy, boom. Let's have an oil party at Mar-a-Lago, boom. You're all good.
Not an oil party. I'm done with you.
And I ain't talking Pennzoil neither.
Okay, so last question. And this is just playing devil's advocate. What legal protection exists for public officials facing political retaliation?
So, look, people are going to be scared of running for office and doing things because anytime you do something that is not with the stream and you go against the stream, you're going to be seen as somebody who is, trying to create problems, trying to create waves. And most of the time you have what's called governmental immunity, unless you do something so wrong or so bad, whatever you're doing in your official capacity, as long as that's not an intentional wrong, you're going to be excused. But if you're in federal government and you're stealing money, they ain't going to allow that. If you're in the federal government and you're doing things to take care of your friends and hurt other people, not going to be allowed. So, but there will be a fear that if people are like, look, if I voice my opinion or I state what I think is right or my beliefs or whatever it is, and I'm going to get crucified for it, A, I'm not going to say it, and B, I'm not going to run for office. And I think we're going to lose a lot of good, talented people.
Yeah.
They're afraid of running for office, especially now. And I don't think you're going to see people that could be in office, could do phenomenal things, could help this country. I think they're going to wait another 3.5 to 4 years.
Yeah, until they come back out. I agree. All right, Sir Benjamin says the black voters have been wanting Mayor Adams out before this incident has happened. Christine R. says that mayor is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They hate him. Deaf God said Adams working for that pardon. Daniel Cameron says Eric Adams was over there getting flued out.
That's what I was laughing earlier.
Howard Tucker said no Shaitan or no other women today. This must be a Wood Wednesday to the max. Shaitan is not feeling well, everybody. Send her some love. Let It Go says you may have to wonder how much they have to pay for their pardons. Okay, speaking of pardons, and I got a very interesting perception here. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs wants to face of Bad Boy Records is now fighting allegations that could dismantle his empire. Accused of sex trafficking and racial targeting, his team cries foul. He's calling it out as a racially charged takedown. He says prostitution has been around for a long time. And because he's participating in prostitution and he's a black man, it's racially motivated. Is Diddy the victim of systemic bias, or has his wealth shielded him for far too long? Let's go to you, Attorney Carter. How do racial bias claims impact the validity of federal criminal charges?
All right, I'm gonna sound real black here, so I'm gonna put on a kufi, so I can, be able to make my case like Dr. Umar would. But let me just say this, all right?
Are we shipping you somewhere? I mean, you got
absolutely. Well, I don't have to deal with. I'm in the suburbs. This is the closest I can get a suburban kufi. Okay. But the point is simply this. All right. You know what? He's absolutely right.
I gotta get a picture of this.
It's racism all around, and I don't say he's innocent. I think he need to go to jail for other stuff. But the idea that they're getting him on what's called now the Mann Act. Now, the Mann Act was, and Attorney Weiss will correct me if I'm wrong here, was introduced in 1910. It was originally called the White Slave Act.
The White Slave Traffic Act.
I'm sorry, and it was passed specifically really to get black people who were, as Dr. Umar would say, snow bunny hopping. And it said,
okay, hold on. Okay, stop right there because you're losing me a little bit. I know if you're losing me, you're losing the algorithms. All right, take me back. Take me back to what are they're using this act to prosecute him?
Yes.
Now what is the act again? What's the name of the act again? And what was the purpose of it?
It's now called the Mann, M-A-N-N Act. It was called the White Slave Traffic Act in 1910.
Oh,
And what it
basically,
did,
so the white slave owners didn't want the black man screwing their white wives.
they didn't exactly. They
Or their
didn't
daughter.
want transportation of women for prostitution.
Y'all
And they
got
were
me.
afraid that they're taking the white woman, crossing lines, and having relations with them.
Absolutely. And so the original people only charged with this, and someone just pointed out Lakers in 5 knows his history or her history.
Yes,
Good
he
for
does.
you. Jack Johnson was heavyweight champion of the world at the time.
Yep.
Always dating white women. They got mad and said, you know what? We're going to charge you with bringing a white woman across state lines for immoral purposes.
Oh,
Yep.
Tyson Bedford got charged for that.
Absolutely.
Tyson Beckford, yep. Mickey Rooney, Robert Mitchum, Jack Johnson, R. Kelly, Chuck Berry.
Mark Twain got charged for that.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so you just named white men that were recently charged, and you named a few black men that were charged. That's the precedent. So how can he say that this is racist and that it never happened before?
Well, here's why. Because while white men have been charged for this, it's rare. It's rare anyone's charged for this. We talked about this before. All right.
Correct.
It's like a bachelor party. You're in New York City. You get escorts from New Jersey to come to New York for your bachelor party. When's the last time you heard of someone going to federal prison for a bachelor party? Almost nobody gets charged for that. That's a violation of the Mann Act. Bringing anyone across state lines for purposes of prostitution is, and so Diddy would rarely, very few people get charged for this. All right, you come on, we've all been to a bachelor party. All right, we weren't checking IDs, make sure everybody was from the state. Okay. And so the bottom line is that, and here's what I think about it. It's like always, we talk about the other case. The prosecutors always overcharge. They're looking for everything and anything. You can still charge them for a ton of other things. All right. Sexual assault, drugging people. All right. All the other things, but they're going to try everything in the world. And so he gave the Diddy's lawyers an argument that they can say, okay, this one charge he has, it's only one of many. That's only count 3 of 3,000. All right. They can now make the claim, putting on Kufi or not, that they're trying to get the black man. They're
okay, but hold on. I got to be honest. I don't see. Okay, I get it, but that's not what I'm seeing. Okay, this is what I think I'm seeing. I'm seeing Diddy's attorneys being very smart and clever and using this as an opportunity to align with Trump to prepare some type of pardon. Follow my thought process.
Okay, follow it. All right.
Donald Trump got charged for something very similar. Right? And so he's saying, basically, with this, he's basically saying, if Donald Trump can assault and fly girls back and forth, then why can't Diddy? I like it. I don't care if you don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about it, Attorney Weiss?
Look,
I'm just saying, I think he's aligning himself with this whole kind of prostitution thing because Donald Trump has experience in the prostitution space allegedly, and he's garnering some type of sympathy on that side. I don't know. This is what I just feel like somewhere in my core is that attorney is trying to find some way to get in alignment with Donald Trump so he can get a pardon.
But I don't think he would be going the discrimination route if that were the fact, because Trump doesn't listen to that, right? He doesn't listen. So if he wants to say, yes, bringing women across state lines for a party, that's all fine, and the president does that and blah, like, I get it, but I think that portion that it was racially motivated falls on deaf ears with Trump. Now, at the end of the day, they'll probably be rubbing baby oil on each other and, getting out there and laying out in the sun and getting tan together. But, and Diddy will throw a concert for him, or Trump will throw a fundraiser for him, something, right? I just think right now that was a grasp at straws. The Mann Act, again, it's an old act. It's look, even Maxwell, who's Epstein's person, she was basically charged with the Mann Act without calling it the Mann Act. So that's a British white woman. So I don't.
Some of my gut tells me the reason why Trump's not speaking on this Diddy case, has not spoken on it since the beginning, is something's going on in the background. I gotta read this though really quick.
He was at the parties. Come on.
I gotta read this real quick. Lakers in 5 says, you're way off, Your Honor. Too much ginger ale, Lakers in 5. All right, Phoenicia Phillips says, with all the ladies selling Tootsie Cat, I don't know why all these men getting in trouble for trying to take it. Me neither, especially you there, rich and famous. You can have as many people as you want. Keisha M said Diddy's team is now pulling out any defense that they think will stick. That might work, except we have precedents in the law. Epstein, Weinstein, and Maxwell, like you guys said. Danielle Cameron says Diddy can't because he drugged and oiled up the dog, the cat, the fish, the women, the men. Or just take your guilty plea and throw that thing in a circle for Big Bubba in the cell block. Y'all are something else in here. SL said prostitution is illegal. Yeah, we thought so too, but who knows?
In some
Tony
states,
Kelly says, "Hey Al, did you hear about the autopsy of a CBS News anchor?" I have not.
Hey, by the way, we need to go up in the comments some, and we need. Let me explain this.
Okay, go ahead.
You might have to get a restraining order, Attorney Weiss, because Christine R says me and my homegirls can fly out and dance on Jason's desk for research purposes. and I ain't gonna lie.
Toba, I know
I'm mad. I'm jealous because my woman posted, "Take my 6x6x6 priority mail box off your head." And so you got people who want to dance on the desk. I'm putting a hat on just a protest vote. You ain't gonna have me not. This is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, we're running
around here. I got some brains.
I'm in Arizona. Come find me.
All right, we're running along, everybody. Let's get to that part of the show where we issue our verdicts and have the algorithm issue theirs as well. First up, the Department of Education lawyers. Is the Department of Education wrong for threatening the DEI funding cut? Are they guilty or not guilty, Attorney Weiss?
Oh, they're guilty, and they need to just keep quiet. That's it. Just keep quiet.
Attorney Carter?
Oh, guilty.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find the Department of Justice and the WWE CEO guilty for not knowing what the hell you're doing. Like, hey, how about that? Next question, as it relates to the Department of Education, did the Department of Education misuse their social media? Are they guilty or not guilty? Attorney Weiss?
Guilty.
Attorney Carter?
Not guilty. Told you before, I'm happy when you go ahead and say the quiet part out loud. Now we got a reason to know you're racist. Otherwise, you could have used some other BS.
All right. I'm going to say guilty for what I said. They are doing this to create change in policy, and we can't allow it. Guilty, guilty, guilty.
All the comments.
What the comments say?
Don't worry, Sean. I'm lying in bed with my slip on.
ASAP Rocky is ASAP Rocky. Did ASAP Rocky escape justice? Woo, this is a good question. Did ASAP Rocky escape justice? Is he really guilty or is he definitely not guilty? Attorney Carter.
He was not guilty of what they charged him of. They overcharged him. If they charged reasonably, he would be in county lockup right now.
All right, Attorney Weiss.
Ditto. 100% what he said.
All right, we're going to find, I'm Alan, I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. We're going to find ASAP Rocky not guilty, but guilty for having a beautiful rich wife that got him off. And
a prosecutor who overshot.
Right, and a prosecutor that overshot. All right, Justin Tucker. All right, should Justin Tucker face suspension while under investigation? Is he guilty or not guilty? Attorney Weiss?
I think the NFL is gonna have to go ahead and
do something
and penalize him some way.
Attorney Carter, y'all are best. Attorney Carter.
It's hard for me here because
it's hard for you there.
But, I'm just amazed because he's saying he's hands-free shooting his shot. And well played, Justin. Well played. But you're nasty. You need to really go see somebody. But you're nasty, but it's impressive.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find him guilty of jerk and pull, jerk and shoot, jerk and pull, jerk and shoot, jerk and something. Stop with those. Not strippers, massage therapists. Man, good God, just stop. Hire you somebody to come massage you that doesn't mind the jerk and turk. Oh, whatever the hell it's called. My goodness, you guys got so much freaking money.
Well, that's the crazy part is if you made, by the way, he made like $24 million in his career, right?
Exactly.
I would be able to get $12 million. Be happy to do that.
I would hire somebody to come to my house and like massage me, pretend like they were at a parlor, speak Asian to me or something, and let me get off. I'm just so upset with you.
He already hired somebody. She wearing a slip right now.
At 250.
Mayor Eric Adams.
At $250 a session, he could have had 96,000 sessions
with his case. So right, I promised you. Okay, Mayor Eric Adams. Should Mayor Eric Adams resign? Is he guilty or not guilty for doing something illegal, Attorney Weiss?
I honestly have no clue what he did, what he's been accused to do, but he's going to stay in office. And again, it's taking away from the city of New York. And look, if the voters want him out,
you're saying he's not guilty. Guilty, not guilty.
I don't know.
Okay, Attorney Carter.
To quote the inimitable Daniel Cameron, he guilty of being flued out. All right, he had the Turkish people flew him out. He basically is acting. You know, they should actually get charged with the Mann Act for flying him out for what we call an Adams cat. His ass is a hoe, and he need to go.
He's a hoe. He needs to go. I'm out another judge here in Celebrity Court, and we're going to find Mayor Adams guilty of something. And the first thing is not being attractive. My God. That is hard on the face. All right, everybody. Power corrupts, but who polices the powerful? That's the question here. From City Hall to the NFL, from music moguls to federal agencies, tonight proves that justice is often a tightrope walk between influence and integrity. We've seen careers crumble under accusations, and we've seen verdicts questioned under the glare of fame. But the real question remains, are we holding the famous to higher standards or simply different ones? This is Celebrity Court, where your voice decides the verdict. Until next time, stay informed, stay critical, and remember, justice is only as strong as those who demand it. All right, court is now adjourned.